Richard Nixon, as John McCain told me yesterday, was able to go fly around the world, meet with other world leaders, and be, as Senator McCain put it, the president of the world. But when he came back home, he had more trouble being president of the United States. That's a very good, I think, comparison for what we're going to see beginning this weekend and next week with President Trump on the road. Ironically, President Trump ran on being a very domestic president, and now this trip, which Trump and White House officials have very high hopes for, he is almost a foreign policy president right now by definition. No one had that on Inauguration Day. Despite the troubles at home, all indications are Trump will receive at least warm welcomes. In some places, probably he'll be received very well. The Saudi leaders and President Trump will likely get along very well. They are prepared to make some moves on some counterterrorism programs that even the Obama administration wanted, and it looks like the Trump administration, that's going to be one of, as they say on these trips, deliverables. When he gets to Israel, however, the Trump administration is playing hardball with Israel. They won't, for instance, say the Western Wall, which is in Jerusalem, is part of Israel. And no Israeli leader, including Netanyahu, will accompany Trump to the Western Wall when he visits. That is part of the administration's push for an Israeli-Palestinian peace deal. And it's a signal to the Israelis that you're not going to box us in on an issue like that and upset the Palestinians and maybe wreck the peace talks before they even really begin. And I think Trump, who by all accounts feels very much under siege at home, that kind of conversation could bring that feeling back, and he may tell Netanyahu very pointedly that he will do, frankly, whatever the hell he thinks is right in the moment. We won't know until they come out of that room. Trump's national security advisor, Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, told reporters this week that the speech to over 50 Muslim leaders will be a, quote, direct speech. Trump wants them to get serious against ISIS. He wants them to do more. And I don't expect the Muslim world is going to react warmly to what they hear. When he gets to NATO, the NATO summit in Brussels, probably a mixed reaction. He'll be greeted warmly out of respect for the office, but he also plans to tell them face to face, a lot of these partner nations need to devote more of their own money to the NATO budget. He ran on that. He's continually said it right back here behind me at the White House. And he's going to say it right to them in person. And once they land in these 5 countries, it's very much unclear who's going to do some of the diplomacy behind the scenes to smooth things over. President Trump is very direct. He says things sometimes that reporters have to parse. I can't imagine world leaders trying to parse this. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and his staff will be there. I suspect they'll do a lot of kind of the back channeling, the explaining behind the scenes of what Trump might have meant, or maybe he was just playing to the cameras. He's a former reality TV star. I expect him to even do that on foreign soil. But as far as the West Wing staff, this will be a fascinating trip to watch to see if they're able to do this, if they're able to help the boss with world leaders. It's very unclear. They've struggled domestically. There's not a lot of international experience on the senior staff, and we'll just have to see how this plays out. But I would expect more than one hiccup along the road. When he comes back home, who knows what might happen next week on the Hill. James Comey has been invited to testify before at least one committee. By the time he gets back, Congress could have the alleged memos that Comey wrote after some of his meetings and conversations with Trump. That could change everything. The environment isn't great for President Trump and his agenda now. It could be even worse when he gets home.